Because One Piece is finally back, I believe now is the best time for me to make a video regarding a certain topic I rarely see One Piece YouTubers make, which is talking about the bounty system. A person's bounty could come from many different factors, such as individual strength, military power, global influence, and obviously how threatening that person is to the Marines and the world government. Some bounties are pretty accurate to one's character, but some are just completely off, and a handful of them just need some slight tweaking. So that's what I'm going to be doing for this video. I'm going to get a list of characters and see what bounty they truly deserve. If you want more One Piece related videos, then of course leave a like and subscribe, as I will continue to make more One Piece videos if you guys enjoy it. So without further ado, let's get started. Off the gate, I'm gonna just start this off nice and spicy, and bounty scale the person everyone's been talking about. Loki. His current bounty sits at 2.6 billion, and as of right now there isn't a lot to go off, but I'll try my best to make an estimate. Even though he's been chained up for the most part, he does have a lot of narrative behind him. The Gods Knights want him for some reason, he has an apparent special bounty that we've never seen before, and because he is chained up in Sea Stone, he should have some sort of devil fruit. The only doubt I have with Loki is that he is a giant, and giants as a whole have been trashed for the majority of the story, but I do believe Oda is setting up Loki with something special. I don't think he's gonna be as strong as Luffy obviously, but I think he should be the level as like Kid or Law or Zoro, and whatever history he has with Elbaf or whatever devil fruit he has, I think Loki's bounty is just right, and maybe it's a chance of being something higher, but obviously there's still a lot more to find out. Hopefully he'll be the guy to carry the giant agenda. Next on this list will be our main character, Luffy. As of right now, he still remains at 3 billion berries after beating Kaido, which I honestly think is really low for Luffy. I believe he is way more of a threat to the world government to just sit at 3 billion. Not only can he fight other Yonkos, he possesses the fruit that the Gorosei have been searching for over 800 years. Not to mention he's also the son of Dragon, who is currently the biggest threat to the world government. And after seeing the true identities of the Gorosei, his bounty and threat level should definitely be raised. I think the main reason for his bounty being currently where it's at is because of the Gorosei wanting to purposely lowball Luffy's bounty. They don't want nobody knowing that Luffy is Joy Boy. And if the government suddenly inflated his bounty, this would probably make the world realize who Luffy really is, which would result in the world turning against the Marines and the world government. This is probably why Luffy's bounty never updated after Egghead. They don't want nobody knowing what's really going on. So overall, I think this is a clearly narrative lowball for Luffy's bounty. I think a good estimate would be between 4 or 4.5 billion. People seem to underestimate how far ahead Luffy is compared to the rest of the pirate world. He is one of the main contenders for the One Piece race, and I personally believe he is the closest person to it, probably behind Shanks, but other than the race itself, when it comes to straight threat level, there are few who can compare to Luffy. Next I'm gonna pair Law and Kid together. I'll be quick and start with Kid. Everyone's dunked on Kid before, and I'm not gonna repeat the stuff everyone has already said. He is trash. Obviously he doesn't actually compare to his actual bounty, but to give Kid the benefit of the doubt, he has fought multiple Yonkos, he did hold Poneglyph rubbings, and individually he is pretty strong, which is a lot better than most of the worst generation. But when it comes to bounty itself, he has no territory, he has no army, and he has no actual wins to his name, and he doesn't use hockey, and his crew is not good. He wasn't that much of a threat to begin with. Just because you kill more people than usual doesn't really mean your bounty should be higher than someone else's. I think Kid's bounty should be around 2 billion, somewhere in that range. I think at most probably 2.5. Now I can talk about Law. His bounty is definitely above Kid, but I don't think it should be at 3 billion either. Law's crew is just as bad as Kid's. The only history Law had with the government was with the Rocky Port incident, which made him a warlord. So maybe that could be taken accounted for, but I just don't think Law or Kid should be nowhere near the same bounty as Luffy, as they don't pose the same type of threat that he does. Law's biggest saving grace is his devil fruit. That fruit alone is worth 5 billion berries, so that fact alone should leverage Law's bounty above Kid. At least Law is good with his fruit, which makes him a valuable target for the government. So I believe Law's bounty should be between 2.5 or 2.75 billion. I just don't think he's touching 3 billion yet, since that is just way too close to Yonko bounties, but I think that range should be high enough for Law. I want to now touch on an unannounced bounty, which is Sabo's. I don't actually remember if Sabo's bounty was shown in the story or stated somewhere, but regardless, I believe Sabo is deserving of a bounty of 3 billion. He is the right hand of Monkey D. Dragon, the one person who is directly against the government and the Marines. The Revolutionary Army most likely has insider knowledge that the Gorosei doesn't want out, and they have also contributed into freeing thousands of slaves and owning numerous territories, which makes Dragon the world's most wanted criminal. With that said, even though Sabo is the right hand, he actually shares more notoriety than Dragon himself. Not to mention that Sabo is probably the only person who has seen Emu face to face and survived, who most people don't even know exist. This alone makes him an extremely high threat. Strength also contributes to his bounty as well. He's fought multiple admirals on separate occasions and survived, and as well fought the Gorosei and survived. And to top it off, he has connections to Luffy, who is a Yonko. All of these factors together give Sabo the credentials for a 3 billion berry bounty, and maybe even higher. Going off the assumption that Dragon is the world's most wanted man, he should be worth around 5 billion, which would fit Sabo's bounty at 3. If Dragon were to be higher or lower, then maybe that could change, but that's where I believe Sabo should be at. My final person I want to cover is a more passionate topic for me, who is none other than Dracul, Mihawk. Right now Mihawk sits at 3.59 billion berries. Mihawk is a more special case than the rest. He did recently join the Cross Guild, but for most of his career he's mainly gone solo without any crew or fleet. And as well he has no territories and he doesn't care about going for the One Piece. What he is known for is being the world's strongest swordsman, meaning that his bounty is probably the only bounty that actually scales off raw strength alone, which this bounty is literally over the admirals of just 3 billion. So to adjust his bounty I had to go off his power, where to this day he hasn't shown many feats to demonstrate this, besides being the supposed rival to Shanks. So the most I could really do is just go off feats Shanks has done, and just assume Mihawk should be able to do just about the same. He should be able to wipe his ass with people in the 3 billion range like Kid and Green Bull, which we've seen Shanks do very casually. Now of course that doesn't mean Mihawk should have a bounty equal to Shanks, since Shanks actually has a lot more to offer than just strength. But I think Mihawk is in the right spot. He should be above the admirals when it comes to strength, but below the Yonko. Mihawk could probably have the strength of a Yonko, but he doesn't pose a direct threat to the Marines or government, except that he is in the Cross Guild now, so maybe his bounty could be adjusted a little higher. He is basically the strongest person in that organization, so his bounty should be around 3.6 or 3.75 billion. I don't think he's touching 4 as of yet, but maybe that could change in the future. But that's pretty much all I have for today. I plan to do more of these as I got a giant list of people I want to cover in the future. So if you want a part 2 or a different version of this, be sure to comment about it, or just by liking the video and subbing. That'll be a clear sign for me to start another one as soon as possible. With all of that said, thank you for watching.